I started in the fellowship program, I worked on the flood sprint first. And during that period, we were trying to see how we can bring digital technologies to try to tackle some of the challenges faced in the flood domain. So I met with Rob Lamb and Barry Hankin, who were talking about government reports known as Section 19 that contained important information about flood-prone locations. So they wanted to get this information out of such reports and use it for some analytical purposes. For example, bring the information together with other information such as observed measurements about rivers. So this is how I came into this picture and brought in the use of semantic web technologies to try and integrate disparate data sets. For example, integrating information sitting in the Excel spreadsheets about river measurements with information from the Section 19 reports. So I think that work was quite well received by the flood community, and they decided to continue this work further. And this is where they had the Knowledge Transfer Partnership Program, where you came on board. So how was your experience working on this when you came on board the JBA?
It was quite interesting, really. It was a bit unexpected, the sort of obviously the whole pandemic side, but unexpected sort of quite how broad the topic or the scope for the work was, because of the sort of unfamiliarity, not just my own, but sort of the general sense of everyone was quite unfamiliar with the semantic web technologies. The sort of finding the scope and finding exactly where we would take it was quite a challenge throughout the whole project, and it led to it being quite an iterative process, which I definitely didn't really anticipate at the start.
And you also had to look at the natural language processing as well. So there were quite a lot of technologies that you were like, yeah. So for me, it was like more because I had a background in semantic web. So I just wanted to see if we can use that, and it did work because you can use semantic web to do the integration. But I also used the natural language processing to do some extraction from the PDF reports because they were just sentences. So how can you extract information in a relevant way so that you can combine them? So that was quite interesting, and the design of the ontology. So that was also something that you should probably have a lot of discussions with domain experts when you're designing. So maybe this is where we also interacted more because of the flood model. And we had that virtual collaboration where we spent quite a few hours working on the ontology design and also looking at the flood risk management system and all kinds of queries. So how do you feel about this ontology design bit?
Well, I mean, just sort of taking it back a second before, I was completely new to it when I started. So the discussions, the virtual collaboration, all that was really essential, and actually really helped me talking to you with this, because otherwise I was just sort of out on my own, would have been really in the dark and feeling it out. And there's a lot more to learn about this than sort of there appears at the surface, which is like a lot of things. But yeah, the ontology design was quite interesting, and how it was quite iterative and coming, this sort of constant evolution that we found, which is interestingly the sort of nature of ontologies lends itself to constant type of development, not necessarily in the sense that we used it where we actually completely, during the steps of the project, I sort of overhauled it a lot from sort of conversations. I sort of came back to you and was like, oh, I need it for this now. And you sort of helped me work through reshaping it to, as you said, the sort of risk focus side. So we went through sort of three main stages where it evolved into the sort of next version of itself.
Yes. And also I think we actually never met, and we just collaborated online virtually because of the pandemic, but it worked out well because we were also doing lots of scribbling, I'll say, on the Microsoft whiteboard and trying to come up with nice queries, how we can formulate them, and how we can design the ontology. So that was really, I think, a very fruitful discussion, and it was a new experience for both of us.
Yeah, the whiteboards particularly, I've become a little bit more familiar with them since the project.